Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to the J-Dub Show. Ooh, man, we got a special edition today, special driver's edition. Got Kyle Dagar, L1M development driver, sitting here. Say hello, Kyle.
What's going on, everyone?
Got his friend Alex sitting here. Say hello, Alex.
Hey, how you doing, everybody?
Man, we doing great. And my beautiful wife, Pam, over there. Say hello, babe.
Hello.
All right. Well, you know, you guys out there listening to this may not realize this, but this is taking a while to get this thing going. Man, we had to fool around we had some technical difficulties, and I think we finally got them squared away. So I feel pretty good about it. It's been a while since we've done one of these podcasts. Actually, I did one like a week ago, but I didn't put it out there, so y'all just pretend like I never said that. Oh man, I'm right on top of things, Kyle.
Oh yeah.
You probably figured that out by now.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm a quick learner.
Yeah, they are many cogs in the wheel, and my name is on a lot of those cogs. All right, for all you guys that don't know, Kyle Dagar is one of our development drivers. He's out of Indiana. What's that little town you're from?
From Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Well, that's a big town, I guess. Fort Wayne, Indiana, up there around Smoke and all them guys. Big open wheel country, and that's your background, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely from all the dirt tracks in Indiana. I think there's like 6 dirt tracks within an hour from me. So
Yeah. That's, well, you know, not necessarily dirt tracks, but just racetracks in general. So that's kind of the way it is around it. Well, you've been going with us now for a couple of years, so that's a real hotbed up there. What kind of racing did you do up there? I know, but tell me.
I did a little bit of everything. Started out in go-karts, and then I kind of moved up to mini sprints, both wing and non-wing. Pretty much all on dirt tracks up there.
Yeah. Did you have fun doing that?
Oh yeah, that's a blast. Dirt track racing is definitely interesting for sure.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the hot thing the last few years for guys for the money guys in racing to pluck drivers from is the open wheel stuff, since obviously going way back to Stewart and Gordon and those guys. But here lately, you got Kyle Larson, Rico Abreu, but he's going back, I guess, from what I understand. Jason Leffler. Unfortunately, he left us a little too soon. But that's and we tested a lot of open wheel guys. We actually had a guy named Jason Blonde, I think his name was. He had the world speed record for a half-mile track at Bristol in a pavement sprint car, non-wing if I remember right. So I don't know how fast he went, but he had the world record.
Must have been fast.
He was a bad dude. I ain't gonna lie about it. He wanted to try his hand at stock car racing, so we put him in a truck for some little bit of testing and stuff like that. But ultimately, he chose to stay where he was at. So now last year, well, let's see. You've been kind of hanging around the shop for a little over a year now.
Yep, probably about a year and a half.
Yeah, you did it a little bit backwards from the way most guys do it. You contacted us wanting to drive, and immediately we said, okay, well, we'll take a look at you, and just through the way things work out, you actually started interning at the shop a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we got you to the test day and all that stuff there, and then we ran in the late model super trucks last year, and then like hopefully a lot of people know that follow us a little bit on Facebook and Twitter and that kind of thing. This year, we're gonna get to run you in some cars toward super late model races. What do you think about running the supers this year?
I think it'll be different for sure. It's going to be quite a bit more competition than the trucks. But I think it'll be really fun, especially with level 1, to kind of see how we stack up against some of the bigger name people.
Yeah, there's some big dogs in it for sure. We were talking about that the other day, and it's like, gosh, man, JRM's got a car out there. Gosh, who else were we saying?
KBM has a car in
KBM's
there
got a
this year.
super out there. Is Gilliland running his deal?
Yeah, I think
in there too?
they're gonna have 1 or 2 cars in there this year.
Yeah, and then of course you got your normal guys. Leaf Falk, although I'm not 100% sure they run a super or not. But I mean, there's a ton of good, late model teams in this area right around here. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be new. I got to mess with a super a few years ago, but we didn't really get too big into it. So, I like the. It's gonna be a learning experience, but something that I've kind of noticed the last few years is it seems like every time we go to the track, it's a learning experience because we usually have, a new guy in it that's green as grass that, barely knows how to drive a stick shift. And so a lot of times when we go to the track, it's a learning experience.
Yeah, we've had a couple curveballs thrown at us the past couple times.
We really have. Yeah, we really have. We have had to teach guys how to drive a stick shift quite a bit. But that's part of it. You got to learn somewhere, I guess. So, I mean, and I know this, but what's your ultimate goal in racing? Is it like everybody else, make it to the big time, be rich and famous, rock star, that sort of thing?
Well, I think, like everyone, I like to be, a big time Kyle Busch or Jeff Gordon, and win a bunch of races. But, realistically, I just want to be able to make a living in racing, whether it be in trucks or even just, someone like Bubba Pollard and just run super lates across the country.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, as you know, that we really, really talk about with our drivers and everything is that, I mean, making it as far as, being a Kyle Busch, a Jeff Gordon, Dale Jr., Tony Stewart, those guys. Man, that's tough. And there's just as much luck involved as skill because everybody at that level has skill. So all the little things have to fall in place. And I don't ever want to tell a guy that, he can't do that. But then the flip side of it is we also like to show the alternative to that is that, not everybody can quite make it to that level. But, we can kind of show you how to, sustain yourself in this industry and to be able to do it for a living. And like I like to say, at the end of the day, there's a lot worse things than getting a paycheck for driving a race car.
Right.
So there's definitely more than one side to the coin. And you're not the typical rich kid. Are your parents loaded?
No, far from it.
You can tell us. It's just all of us. No, I know. That's the thing. Everybody thinks you got to be a rich kid to make it nowadays, or to even get your foot in the door. But Kyle is as blue collar as they come. Actually, all of our drivers are. I mean, have you seen a rich kid throwing money around anywhere lately?
No, not recently.
I haven't either, man. I tell people that, I mean, there's some of that out there, but trust me, there's not as many rich kids out there throwing money around as people think there are, or my job will be a whole lot easier. But, just typical kid from Indiana, trying to make it. You ponied up, you put your cash down, you bet on yourself, and my wife will attest to this. I always say I'm a gambler. If I'm going to gamble, I'm going to gamble on me. So I think the important thing to take away from that is that, all the belief and the misconception that you have to be a rich kid nowadays. Although that does help, it's not really 100% correct.
Right.
Yeah, that's the way I see it. Let's circle back around a little bit because we wanted to introduce everybody to you and, get our plans out there for you and that sort of thing. But also, too, part of it was, we get so many guys that email us, that call us wanting to be a part of the program. And there's a lot of misconceptions about what goes on and how we approach things and how we do things. So we're going to try to clear up a little bit of that today. Since you actually came through the steps with us all along the way, so at your first test evaluation session, which was at Hickory,
Yep.
what did you take away from that day?
Well, I had a little bit of an advantage because I've been hanging out with you guys for a little bit before that. But the test day, I thought it was a little bit more relaxed than I thought it was going to be going into it. You just kind of show up and just shake the car down, get 20 laps in, talk it over, and go out there and do it again. I mean, it's really, really relaxed, a good environment to just kind of see how you handle in the car. And
Yeah. So you would say it was a good, solid, positive experience.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like, for everyone, like, if you're starting out or if, if you've ran late models for years, it's definitely,
Yeah, and we've had guys that, I mean, they've barely driven a car to a convenience store, much less around a racetrack.
Yeah.
But if you come in and you do what we tell you to do, we can coach you through it. And really, honestly, all you have to worry about is your job in the car. Mm-hmm. We tell you what we're looking for. We tell you what we expect out of you. And we try to take as many of the variables out of it as possible. So all you have to do is concentrate on those 220-lap sessions. And like you said, you did have a little bit of an advantage because you had been to a few of them and kind of seen how it worked out. But when we put you in the car, I told you, it's just like anybody else. Mm-hmm. I'm going to look at you and I'm going to give you an honest evaluation, and whatever happens, happens. But and that's the thing. I mean, we don't tell guys what they want to hear. If I don't think it's going to be a good fit or if it's going to work out, then we'll tell you, hey, you might want to think about doing something else. But if there's any way that we can help you, we will. It's pretty simple. Like you said, at the end of the day, we try to make sure that everybody has a good, positive experience, no matter what. If it works out and we do races down the road, great. But if it doesn't, then hey, you know what? You stepped up to the plate. You put your money where your mouth is, and you took your shot at it. And to me, that's the way you live life. There, I mean, I'm glad I did. Will always feel better than I wish I had.
Right.
That kind of thing. So kind of switching gears a little bit, and we're going to try to keep this kind of short. We're going to try to keep it about 20 minutes or so. But switching gears a little bit. Not really switching gears, but we'll talk a little bit about the process of if somebody wants to come and try to be a part of the program. Basically, you give us a call, you shoot us an email, you give us your background, tell us a little bit about yourself, that sort of thing. Put in your contact information and all that. And if when you contact us, if you haven't by that point, which most guys have, please go to the website and look at the driver development page, because so many of your questions can be answered right there. I mean, obviously we can't answer everything, but I think we did a good job of handling most of the frequently asked questions there. So hopefully by the time that you contact us, you at least have a little bit of an idea of what you're getting into. I typically read through all the emails, kind of sort through them a little bit. We don't offer the opportunity to everybody. We want to make sure that the right guys get the chance. We don't have strict criteria, but for the test evaluation. Now, moving forward, we do have some fairly strict criteria. But we want to make sure that everybody that deserves the opportunity can get it. So once we kind of sift through that, then I forward everything to my wife, Pam, who is in charge of driver relations and test scheduling and that sort of thing. And she's sitting here now, and she'll tell you guys a little bit about what happens on her end once I kind of pass everything off to her. where do you pick it up at once I pass it off on to you?
Well, the first thing I do is make sure they have seen the website, because 90% of the questions can be answered right from the website. Typically, if you're interested, then you need to send us your non-refundable $300 deposit. Once I get your deposit, I'll start your paperwork, and we see when our next available test date is. We typically only take 2 to 3 guys per month. So if you're interested, you need to let us know, because once the 3 guys have paid, then we're booked for that month. We move to the next
And
month.
they book really fast. So, I mean, it's not like we have, just tons and tons of spots. Because that's the thing. We're not going to try to herd, 10, 15 guys through a day. No. We're 4 at the absolute maximum. And we really try to keep it to 3. I'd say a solid average is 2 to 3 guys. Because that way we can really, really work one-on-one with each guy and take a proper amount of time. And once they contact us, you walk them through how to send the deposit and that sort of thing, and the test dates. And the thing is to realize we don't always necessarily have the exact date, because chances are by the time someone emails us and we get back in contact and all that, we're actually booking for a test session that's 4 to 6 weeks down the road. And we can't always have an exact date necessarily at that exact time. We can kind of give you a rough idea. Like, let's say if somebody contacted us today, we're probably looking at somewhere between mid-March and early April, correct?
Yes.
But there's a lot of factors that go into that. It's our schedule, the track schedule, getting the track reserved, making sure we have a test vehicle ready to go. So, but on the flip side of that, we give you plenty of warning. Hey, this is the date we would like for you to come.
Right.
And if that doesn't work out, then we can look at the next one down the road. But just be aware that we don't always necessarily. We don't have a year's worth of dates booked out by any stretch of the imagination. Correct?
Right.
Okay.
I try to tell the drivers too, the people that are interested, a little bit about what you're looking for. This is not a driving experience. You're paying for an evaluation. That's what you're going to get. You're not looking for the fastest driver of the day. That doesn't get you any brownie points. You're looking to see if you can control the car. Are you driving the car, or is the car driving you? Can you, lap consistency? I tell the drivers, don't think, if he doesn't want you to go faster, don't go faster. Don't get out there and showboat. So I try to give them some tips too on things that I know you're looking for, just so they'll kind of know what to expect.
Yeah. And kind of on that note, yeah, and that's where it really differs, I think, from what a lot of guys have a perception of when they come. If we have 3 guys there, it's not like the fastest guy is going to get the nod. All out fastest speed is not really a concern at this point. It's more about car control, lap time consistency, managing your lap times, the braking zones, throttle pickup points, that sort of thing. With these new setups that we run nowadays, it's so important how you land the nose of the car. And Kyle can tell you this. It's so important how you land the nose of the car in the corner correctly, and and making sure that the front end's landed, the car's rotated before you try to fuel back up and drive off the corner. You can drive a push into one of these things pretty easily, correct?
Right. Yeah. I think some of the best drivers that I've seen come through the tests are just the ones that can consistently get it in the corner and a nice smooth lap and a consistent time. Not the ones that can throw it in there as hard as they can.
Yeah, they can put up one great big number, one lap out of 20.
Right.
You're an awesome qualifier, man. But yeah, because if you can do all those other things, man, the speed's going to be there. Mm-hmm. If you're a new guy, it may take some seat time for the speed to come, but the speed's going to come. If you're an experienced guy and you can do those things, then you should be able to flip a switch and do those things and be fast. So it's not that speed's not important, but it's not the end-all, be-all by any stretch. I know a lot of guys think it would be, but it's really not. A whole lot of other things involved in it. And also, too, some of the things we look at is from a marketing standpoint. Well, I'll tell you what, before we talk about marketing, we'll go back to the driving part of it. Obviously, we want to see you inside the car or truck, whatever we're testing that day. but we also want to get a feel for your communication. And that's where the feedback stuff comes from. Like you alluded to, after the first 20 laps, we'll do a verbal feedback session. And I try to tell guys to approach it like if we were there preparing for a race. You know, what was the car or the truck doing, the track doing? You know, what are you feeling? And I don't expect anybody to be an expert at that, because really we're trying to get a feel for how you can communicate. Can you communicate effectively? I mean, I don't need you to tell me that, you know, we need 3 clicks down on the right rear shock and, you know, 2 pounds out of the left front. I don't need all that. Just the fact that you can communicate, that's the biggest thing. And then after the second 20 laps, we'll do a written feedback. Because the theory is that if a guy has to write it down, you get more of a clear picture of the whole run versus the last 3, 4, 5 laps. And then another thing we look at is back to the marketing side of it and the marketability. You know, a guy's look, how he speaks, how he carries himself, how he interacts with everybody. Is he a jerk? That sort of thing. So we really try to get as much of a picture of what a guy's got going on in that short amount of time that we're all together. And I think we've got a pretty good process for this now. It's been refined over the last few years, and I think we've done pretty good getting there. So just to reiterate the steps, go to the website, driver development page, check everything over. They'll answer most of your questions. Send me an email. My email's on the website, but it's james.martin@level1motorsports.us, just in case you need it. But it is on the website. I'll look through them, send everything over to Miss Pam. Pam will pick it up from there and tell you how you can get your deposit in, what's required of you as far as equipment goes, that sort of thing. Whatever equipment that you need, if you don't have, we do have available for rental. It's really inexpensive. Like I said, we want to make sure that everybody that needs this opportunity gets it. And she'll talk you through getting your deposit in, your date, that sort of thing. Got anything else you want to add to it there, young man?
I think I'm good. You about covered it all.
I think we did, right? I tell you what, man, we had to work to get this one in.
Yeah.
Good.
It was rough.
We could, if we would have had a camera crew in here 30 minutes ago, we'd all be famous, because it was insane trying to get this thing to record properly and all that. How about you, Alex? You got anything you want to add? You're just here for the chicks. Yeah. Alex is just here. Alex is strictly here for the women. He is not a bit interested in this. Okay, this is what Alex is interested in. While you're out there driving your race car, he's interested in talking to your girlfriend. That's what Alex is interested in.
We've seen him do that once or twice.
Yeah. He'll do it. I've seen him do it. So that's Alex's main worry. And Alex has also worked at the shop, quite a bit and done some things here and there. Oh, we didn't even get to touch on that, but what are you doing in North Carolina? Anyway, we didn't even talk about that. What are you doing down here?
A little bit of everything. I moved down here just because I wanted to get closer to the racing industry. I'm going to school for sport marketing and management. Learning a little bit more about the sport and how it works. And I go to school at Johnson & Wales in Charlotte, interning at a couple race shops.
With the marketing stuff.
Yeah, with marketing.
Yeah.
And that's so important to learn nowadays.
Yeah.
That's almost more important than driving, now.
Yeah, it's damn sure as important.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, man. It's like people act like that all car owners are just these evil people sitting on stacks of money, and we want more money, so we put these rich people in our race cars. When the reality of it is, man, we're trying to pay the bills.
Right.
And I mean, it is what it is. And it's always been that way. That's what people don't understand. It's always been that way. It's just back in the day, the money was a lot easier to get. Mm-hmm. And when a team could go out there and secure full-time sponsorship, then of course they can just pick out whoever they want to drive the car. You know, but nowadays you got to be a little more flexible. And that's the thing. We won't put somebody in our car just because they can write a fat check. I mean, the talent's got to be there too, because a small organization like us, it doesn't really do any good for us to put somebody that can't drive in a car just because they can stroke a check. That's not going to help us grow at all. So we definitely need the talent behind the wheel, and then hopefully, you know, together we can work something out on the funding side of it. But you know, it's like you said, man. That's just the age we live in, and it is what it is. And I've told guys 100 times, instead of, you know, whining and crying and trying to change the rules of the game, you know, you're better off putting your focus and energy towards making the rules of the game work for you. You know what I mean? So that's my theory on that. Maybe one of these days when I got about 5 hours to kill, I'm going to do like a 5-hour podcast on money and the business side of racing.
I'll be busy that day.
Yeah. Oh
As
yeah.
will I.
That's going to be one of those where I'm just going to get in my truck and turn the recorder on, and I'm going to ride around and just let everybody know what I think. So, anything else? I think that's it. You're looking forward to 2017, running as many cars, tour races as possible?
Yeah, should be fun.
Should be, man. Should be. Would you recommend the program to somebody that are listening right now that wants to be a world famous race car driver?
For sure. Like, this is such a cool team to work with. It's like they're so personable, and they make it easy for you to try and get your foot in the door and start out your racing
That's
career.
what we do, man. That's what we do. Here's your $20 off. For saying.
Yeah,
No, I'm
thank
kidding.
you.
I'm kidding. All right, well, babe, you got anything you want to add to it?
No, that's
I
it.
think that's it. Alex is talking to some chick over there. So we're going to go ahead and end it right here. And it's been a while since we've done a podcast. I'm really, really, really going to try to do better and get, you know, maybe one of these out a week or something. But, you know, stay tuned. We'll see what happens. Website, level1motorsports.com. Facebook page, Level 1 Motorsports. Give us a like. Follow us on Twitter at Level 1 Motorsports. Hope everybody enjoyed it, and we'll see your ass at the track.